All right, today we're diving into a really profound and honestly a powerful story from the Karanga people of Zimbabwe. It's the myth of Mwuetsi, and this is all about the cyclical journey of a soul that begins not up in the heavens, but way down in the deep. And trust me, it has so much to tell us about creation, abundance, and renewal. So, let's get into it.
So the myth kicks off with this very simple, almost enigmatic line. And right away we understand this is not your typical creation story. The main character doesn't descend from the sky or burst from the earth. Nope. Their journey starts submerged, in the quiet, dark potential of a lake.
So who or what is Mwuetsi? Well, the name literally means the moon. But in this story, Mwuetsi is also the soul in its most primordial state. Not yet what it's going to be, but holding all the potential of everything, all compressed and waiting. Kind of like a seed just before it feels that first bit of warmth.
So Mwuetsi's journey begins down in this watery depth. But here's the thing. He's not just sitting there passively. He arrives holding a really crucial instrument, something that's going to be absolutely essential for everything that's about to happen. He carries something called the ngona horn. And what's so fascinating about this horn is its nature. It's not some big, grand, divine weapon. It's a small, portable vessel of consecrated oil. It's like the concentrated potential of the deep, the very substance that can bridge the gap between what's just latent and what can actually be expressed.
After accumulating all this potential, the time finally comes for Mwuetsi to emerge. But how he emerges, well, that's one of the most philosophically important parts of this entire myth.
This right here is the core idea. See, Mwuetsi isn't just lifted from the water by some divine hand. He climbs. The ascending is an act, it's a choice, and it's driven by this specific interior pressure of the life that's been building inside him until it can no longer be contained. It's an effort, not a gift.
So he makes this heroic climb, he's full of potential, he's carrying the ngona horn, and he emerges into a world that is just cold, stark, and completely empty. So naturally he weeps, but the myth is very precise about this. This isn't weeping out of despair. It is the specific, honest grief of abundance meeting a total void. It's that feeling of having so much to give and finding a world that isn't even ready to receive it yet.
But Maori, the divine voice in the story, hears his weeping. And the response isn't to just magically fix everything all at once. Instead, a very careful, very deliberate, two-stage process of creation begins. And this creation, it happens in two distinct stages. First comes Masasi, the morning star. Her job isn't to complete the world, but to prepare it. She and Mwuetsi use that oil from the ngona horn to make fire, and for 2 whole years, they just grow grass, creating a foundation. It's only then that Morongo, the evening star, arrives. Her role is completion. She's the one who fills the prepared world with trees, animals, and eventually humans.
And this really highlights how essential both of these stages are. You've got the announcer and the completer, the preparation and the fulfillment. They are not in competition with each other. They're interconnected parts of a single, really consequential act of creation. You just can't have one without the other.
So, at this point, the world is just teeming with life. Mwuetsi's mission has been a huge success. But this is the story's major turning point, right? It's where the very fullness of creation becomes its greatest challenge.
I mean, just think about that for a second. The problem is no longer emptiness, it's overabundance. The world has grown so full, so successful, that it has reached a new and totally unforeseen kind of danger, the danger of its own unchecked growth.
And right at this peak of abundance, that divine voice, Maori, speaks up again. But it's not a command or a punishment. It's a warning. It's just a clear-eyed statement of fact. This path of endless growth that he's on, well, it leads to a very specific and dire consequence.
So what does Mwuetsi do? He hears the warning, and he keeps going. His commitment to the world he ascended into is everything to him. He doesn't turn back. And as a direct result of this growth beyond sustainable limits, the python arrives. It's the physical manifestation of the danger that extreme abundance attracts. The python bites Mwuetsi, and he falls ill. And this is where the myth makes one of its most precise and profound points. The world sickens with him. The rain stops, the crops fail. This really drives home the idea that the creator and the creation are not separate entities, but one deeply interconnected system.
Now, this all seems like a pretty tragic end, but the myth asks us to see it differently. Mwuetsi's death isn't framed as a failure at all, but as a necessary and deeply meaningful completion of his journey.
And the story does not shy away from this incredibly difficult detail. To save the ailing world, Mwuetsi's own children, the human beings he helped create, they have to make an impossible choice. They send him back to the source, back to the lake. And by doing so, they restore balance. The rain comes back, the world recovers.
This quote, this reveals the myth's really revolutionary take on loss. The descent isn't the opposite of the ascent. It is its completion. It's the purposeful return to the deep that makes the next rising even possible. It's an essential, unavoidable part of the cycle.
So you see, the story doesn't really end with death and loss. It brings us full circle, reinforcing its central theme. This isn't a straight line of progress, but an endless, enduring pattern of renewal.
Mwuetsi is back in the lake shore, but he is not the same soul that left it. He is now in an active period of transformation, where the lake itself is processing the entire experience of his journey. The climb, the creation, the warning, and the cost. All of it.
Every single part of his journey, every triumph and every consequence is returned to the source. It's all being absorbed, dissolved, and distilled into a new, more potent form of wisdom and potential.
And this is so crucial. The ngona horn is still with him. That vessel of potential is being refilled, but not with the original oil. No, it's being refilled with something far, far richer, the concentrated wisdom of a full, completed cycle. And so the story ends not with an answer, but with a question for us to carry away. What new, what different, what wiser fire will the next ascending make?